Okay, cool. So today's presentation, I just wanted to keep it super practical. What's actually changed in how consumers discover and buy products and what the winning brands are doing about it and what you can actually take away and use. So let's just get into it. I want to start at the very beginning, where your customer actually is right now. So, according to the stats here, global average daily screen time is sitting at nearly 7 hours a day as of Q3 of 2025. And the thing to worth noting here, there are no lockdowns forcing this. No one is stuck at home, and this is voluntary, habitual. People are choosing to spend this much time on their phone, and that number is still going up. And of all that screen time, 65% of it is in video. So YouTube, TikTok, streaming, meaning your customers are everywhere and they're scrolling. And 72% of consumers say they actually prefer video over any other format when they're learning about a product before they buy it. So now here's the framing I want you to hold on to for the rest of the session. The pandemic didn't create this shift. It accelerated something that was already building for a decade, and it permanently reset the baseline. Your
ايوه فاهم.
customers,
فاهمه بس.
sorry, oops, that
Go ahead.
someone, oh,
Keep going.
cool. So your customers did not go back to 2019 habits, neither did their attention. For CPG specifically, this stops being a digital marketing conversation. It becomes a question of where your brand shows up before someone walks into a store, before they reach for something on the shelf. That first impression, that moment of discovery, it's happening on a screen. And if you're not showing up in that window, you're starting the shelf battle already a step behind. So if that's where your customer is, the obvious move is to put more ads in front of them. And a lot of brands have done exactly that. Here's why that's not the full answer. Uh, so CPG digital ad spend went up 16.6% year over year in 2024. Brands are spending more than ever to reach people on these platforms, but only 39% of consumers say they actually trust traditional advertising in 2025. That means the majority of what brands are spending on conventional ads is reaching people who are already skeptical before they even see it. 42% of desktop users, like people on PC, now run ad blockers. That's at an all-time high. So in the industry is actually losing around 54 billion a year in impressions that simply never get seen. And if you're thinking the answer is influencers, 26% of consumers say they don't trust influencer content at all. They can tell when something is overly sponsored or it's too curated, too perfect, and the scrolls fatigue, it becomes real. But here's the thing I want you to take from this specific slide here. The format isn't the problem. Running ads isn't broken. What's broken is what's inside the ads. When something looks like an ad, we're seeing that people tend to skip it. I'm pretty sure you've all been there when you're doing your normal scrolls and something looks like an ad, you skip past it. But when it looks like a real person made it because they genuinely love something, they like people tend to stop scrolling. That's the gap we're talking about. So if like traditional ads are losing trust and overly polished influencer content is getting tuned out, what's actually working? The answer is actually simpler than most brands expect. So as you can see here, 92% of consumers trust word of mouth and user generated content over any form of advertising. They are 2.4 times more likely to do UGC and authentic content compared to like that comes directly from a brand. And word of mouth is still the number one purchase driver across categories. Like creator content is just the modern scalable version of it. This quote on the slide, I just want everyone to pay attention to. The most persuasive voice for your product is a 24-year-old on TikTok who genuinely loves it and has 8,000 followers who trust her. Not 800,000, not a verified account. 8,000 people who follow her because she's real and they actually care what she thinks. So as you can see, trust didn't go away. It just moved away from brands towards actual people. That's not something you fight. It's something you build a system around. And the brands that figured out this out early I think the results speak for themselves. I just wanted to bring two big examples here that I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with. First, I want to bring up Shark Ninja. So I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with that viral Ninja Creamy Swirl product they had. So they sent those products to creators and asked for one piece of content each. Instead, those creators came back and posted like 15 to 60 more of that same content by themselves. That's without being asked and without being paid for those extra posts. Because these creators, all their content, like all their audiences were responding super well to it. Shark Ninja didn't manufacture that. They just created the condition for creating content and then just the advocates took over. The result of that was Shark Ninja crossed 5 billion in annual revenue, growing 35 to 38% quarter over quarter, with creator content cited directly in their earnings call as a core driver. The Ninja cordless blender alone saw 1,800% order growth from TikTok smoothie tutorials. That's crazy. I think everyone was talking about making smoothies with the Ninja blender for the longest time. I remember that phase when that thing was trending. And I think the next, and this is I think my most favorite example here is Stanley. Most of you know this one. Um, Pretty sure everyone saw that creator video on TikTok that went viral, where her car caught on fire, and then she still had like the Stanley Cup inside the car, and it still had ice in it. So Stanley's president like responded in the comments within hours and offered her a new car right after that. That one response generated over 1 billion media impressions and 7 billion TikTok views. Stanley went from like 73 million in annual revenue in 2019 to over 750 million in 2023. That was just driven entirely by like consumer and creator led content. And like here was like what I want you guys to like pull from both of these is that neither of these like started as a scripted campaign at all. Like both started with one real person, and what made them explode wasn't the content itself. It was that these brands had the system to recognize those moments and pretty much amplify them at scale. That's pretty much the playbook that I want to bring up here today. It's not a campaign you run once; it's a system you build. Uh, and for CPG specifically, I think this goes beyond just social media. It's starting to affect something even more fundamental. It's your ability to get and keep shelf space, because we all know that's been super competitive these days. So retail buyers these days, they're checking your TikTok before they check your sell sheet. That's not an exaggeration anymore. So going into Target, they launched a TikTok trending products end cap in 2024. Their reps are now explicitly asking brands for social content portfolios during line reviews. Whole Foods trending now features and their local emerging brand programs are heavily influenced by creator discovery. Buyers are literally tracking social velocity before like category reviews or category review meetings. And Costco and Sam's Club, limited shelf, ruthless on velocity, and creator-driven demand spike pre-launch is one of the cleanest proofs a buyer can use internally to justify even giving you a pallet slot. The flow is creator content gains traction, retail buyers notice, it comes up in your buyer meetings, it influences the shelf decisions. Creator marketing is just no longer just a consumer like play. It's for CPG specifically in this industry, it's part of the retail pitch now. If you walk into a buyer meeting without social proof, you're leaving a significant part of your argument like at the door. So the opportunity is clear. Where most brands struggle is so the opportunity here is clear. So where most brands struggle is actually executing it consistently. So here are like four specific places I wanted to break down. So first being content volume and consistency. So only about 17% of brands have a dedicated VGC strategy. Not because they don't know it works. The gap is production. It stays on the list, but never becomes more of a repeatable system. Second is authenticity at scale. So working with one or two creators isn't a strategy, it's a one-off. You need a diverse pipeline of different voices to keep content fresh and avoid fatigue. 26% consumers already distrust influencer content, as I mentioned in this slide. So a single creator relationship doesn't really solve that. Third is empty or underperforming PDPs. Now, This one is mostly underrated. A product page, what we're seeing is a product page without social proof is more of a leaky funnel. So pages with UGC see 90% more time on site and a 10% lift in conversion. Most CPG brands have, and we all know this, have a super strong product page, great photography, solid copy, and almost like no real consumer content on them. That's a conversion problem just hiding in plain sight. And the fourth one here is content that doesn't travel. A creator video that performs on TikTok could also be run as a paid ad. Sit on your product page and anchor a welcome email. Most brands don't have the workflow to make that happen. The content gets made, performs once, and just sits there. So like all these content that you're getting from like UGC creators and stuff like that, you should be able to repurpose them using in all your channels because as we talked about, the consumers are pretty much everywhere scrolling these days. Uh, so I want to now get into kind of talking about the system itself, uh, what's actually working, and this is where I kind of want to bring back what I said in the start. Uh, I think in slide two, I kind of talked about uh, customers being everywhere and they're scrolling, as I just said, and like they're pretty much like you want to be able to hit consumers wherever they're spending the most time on. So the playbook that we built is pretty much built around the reality of create, distribute, and convert. So first step, you work with creators. So UGC creators, influencers are both depending on your goals. So they produce content, it gets briefed, rights cleared, then it goes everywhere in your customers where your customers already are. It's like social, paid ads, your storefront, PDPs, email, the same piece of content doing multiple jobs at once across every surface of like they're scrolling through. So everywhere they're scrolling, their content just shows up there. And the numbers back this up. So pages with on-page creator videos see an 87% uplift in PDP conversions, and creator content drives 2.4 times more engagement than static imagery. So what I want to get to is like this is the shift. Like you should stop thinking about content as something you produce for one channel and start thinking about it as more of an engine that feeds every touch point your customer might encounter. Your customers are everywhere, and now your content can be too. So before we get into Veel specifically, I kind of wanted to kind of show you what the economics looks like because I think this is the part that usually reframes how people think about budget. And I know we all have marketing budgets. So just wanted to break this down. So with a $15, like $15,000 budget, so two differently complete outcomes. Traditional brand content, one polished asset, cost per piece runs about 5,000 to $25,000. Production takes 48 weeks. And when you run it as a paid ad, CPM is $18 to $28. UGC and creator content with the same budget, 30 to 100 pieces of content. Cost per asset is just around 150 to $500. Turnaround is 5 to 10 days. Paid ad CPM drops from $8 to $14, and it outperforms branded content by 28% on engagement with 50% higher trust scores. With 50% higher trust scores. So as you're seeing here, it's 30 times the output, better performance, lower CPM, and more trust. The math isn't subtle. It's not a marginal improvement. It's a completely different return on the same dollar. And at that point, the question stops being whether you should do this. It becomes why you haven't built the system yet, which kind of brings me to Veel because the system is exactly what we built here. So everything I've just described, the briefing, the approvals, the rights, distributing content across every channel, that workflow exists. The brands doing this well aren't running it out of DMs and spreadsheets. They actually have an infrastructure behind it. That's what Veel is. 550,000 plus verified creators across 121 countries. UGC and influencer campaigns from one platform. You build your campaign, match with creators, content comes back, you approve it, and it goes out across every channel you need, all from one place. And on rights specifically, and I know this is something that comes up a lot. It's like a gray area when you kind of work with creators, like you don't know who owns the content and stuff. We actually made that simple. So even before like a campaign brief goes out to a creator you choose, like you choose the ownership structure. brand owned, creator owned, or even joint. The creator agrees when they accept the brief. It's locked up front. There's no gray area. There's no renegotiations after the fact. And everything you need to run this, the entire playbook, it's all built in. So here's what I want to say about how Veel is built because it matters for pretty much like all the brands in this room right now. Most of you are not running a 20% marketing team. Uh, you're a founder or a small team doing a lot with limited bandwidth. The last thing you need is a platform that solves one problem and creates three new ones. Veel was actually designed to be simple and built to scale. The idea is to get your time back. You scale with your UGC without scaling your workload. You get your products in front of the right audience, and it works for any team size, whether you're running everything yourself or you've got people around you. One platform, everything connected, regardless of where your brand is right now. And we're pretty much not standing still on this at all, too. So, two things that are coming soon that I'm super excited about on the Build platform is, and I think this ties back to everything we've already talked about today, is we're also introducing like live UGC demos and testimonials directly on your PDP pages. That's creators going live in real time, showing the product, answering questions right at the exact moment someone's deciding whether to buy. I think we've seen this at like Amazon as well. Whenever they have Prime Day, a lot of creators go live talking about different products. So that's like the most direct version of everything we covered about trust and authenticity so far, happening right at the point of purchase instead of just on social media. And another cool thing that we have coming up is multi-channel affiliate marketing built directly into the platform. So you can run like affiliate programs across every channel without bolting in separate tools. So both are coming soon, and I mentioned them because it shows you where like Veel is headed, built towards exactly where the gaps we've been talking about throughout all this session is. And I'm towards like kind of the end of my presentation here, but I kind of wanted to lead everyone with like one last thing before we wrap up here. Um, as you can see here, brands used to talk to people. Now they win by talking to them. That's pretty much the whole session in one line. So if you do one thing this week, go look at your best selling product page, count the real consumers or creator content on it. If the answer is zero, that's your starting point. Not a rebrand, not a new strategy, not a big budget. Just that. Just start there and see where it goes. Maybe adding a few more consumer videos on those pages might increase conversions. And yeah, that's the end of my presentation.
That was great. I have a few questions from founders who weren't able to join, but if there's any other questions, throw them in the chat and we'll get to them. Okay, a couple they might be out of order, so bear with me because I just have a lot of notes here. Um, a few people wanted to know what types of UGC is performing best specifically for we have a lot of like food and beverage supplement brands in our community. What types of content is performing best and is it specific to certain channels? So I know a lot of founders are bootstrapped with budgets or have smaller marketing budgets and they're unable to produce specific content for TikTok or Instagram or even though I think that's usually what you change your messaging per channel.
I think when it comes to like specifically to like food and beverage, and what we've seen working with like some of the clients in that industry is that people just want to see uh other people just enjoying the product itself. They're doing like an honest review. Sometimes it'll be about an unboxing about of, like how cool the packaging is, or like if it's like a specific like health product, like talking about like nutritional benefits or something that's help improve a certain thing in their life, something like that. And when it comes to channel, we tend to actually encourage like every single brands that we work with to kind of cross post across all their channels. Now, obviously, different content goes in different types of channels. So if you're doing like a YouTube ad, it's like a landscape video. So you might that might be more of an informational
Mhm.
content. But I think TikTok specifically, it's more about making a lot of noise for just like with the For You page and discovery and stuff like that. So specific like quick like viral stuff like meme content tends to do super well in TikTok, whereas on Instagram similar content does well, but people can also post like um screenshot like single posts or stuff in their stories, which have a different kind of impact as well. Uh, so I hope that answers your question.
Yes, that's helpful. And then um, for the different channels, so let's say like Instagram and TikTok, um, do you see Instagram content being more buttoned up and quality versus TikTok is more like that raw, authentic, to your point, the trying it on camera and raw feedback?
I think that is certainly the trend currently because I think TikTok is more like people tend to just post videos of like their like day to day and just have it on there. But whereas like when it comes to like Instagram, like certain things are there's a lot of like control elements that we're seeing that goes into Instagram specifically. So like a certain post might need like the super correct hashtag or like the perfect caption that lives on like the person's page. Whereas like on TikTok, what we're seeing is while videos still live on their page, is people tend to encounter these videos more across their for you pages with like certain algorithms and stuff. Whereas Instagram, when you follow a page, you're more like dedicated to that page. So I feel like more and more content is more, like you said, buttoned up.
Yeah.
And I guess the question on those channels.
Okay. And then let's see what other questions here. At what point should founders start looking at their content as paid ads? Like, I mean, obviously heavily dependent on budget, right? But what types of content should they be turning around? Is it the content that's, getting the most impressions or the most engagement?
I think when it comes to like paid ads, like running content on paid ads, I think it really comes to specifically normally we see it mostly has to do with like a certain goal in place. So for example, if there's like a new product launch coming in and you already have content being made for that specific product launch from creators,
Mhm.
founders tend to like promote it on organic posts as well as push it over to paid content at the same time, just for to improve visibility, create brand awareness. But at the same time, we've also seen brands reuse content that went viral like months ago just to recreate that same sensation through paid ads as well. So I think it really comes to obviously, like you said, budget for sure. Organic posts does tend to do super well, but at the same time, like paid ads also tends to increase that boost. Is gives it a little bit more nudge to
Yeah.
its your specific target audience.
And then can you touch on how Veal helps, like versus an agency would helps with securing like usage rights for the content that's being created?
Yeah, for sure. So we actually as I was mentioning in my presentation itself, like we know like the whole content usage thing is such a big gray area. And usually, like when you have a lot of brands do this, and we've seen it, is that whenever they sometimes use like Instagram to source creators or have stuff going through DMs and stuff like that, it's usually like a very gray sort of uh, agreement between them. And like once the content is made, like yes, the creator comes in, yes, they make the video and stuff, but like there's a big question mark on like who owns the rights to this specific content. Like with Veal, we actually made that part of our entire Genesis itself. So whenever you create a brief, a campaign that goes out to creators, when you select before you select them, you actually decide the specific rights on like who owns the specific content. Do you want the creator to own it? If for like how long? If so, do you want the brand to own it from the get go, or do you want joint partnership? So once the campaign brief is posted to the creator and the creator accepts it, like that's all transparent. That's all black and white from the get go. So there's no having to like renegotiate or anything after like the creator accepted it. The creator coming into the campaign and accepting your brief is them agreeing to the content rights as well from the start.
Yeah, I think your platform really takes a lot of stress off founders that don't have a lot of bandwidth and don't also have a lot of knowledge yet on which way to go. Um, and then in terms of campaigns, so can you touch on how you're seeing brands and I guess basically the food and beverage space, ongoing campaigns or specific to launches or holidays, key moments in time, things like that? What is most popular and are there big cost differences when doing that?
So the cost difference. So touching up on cost differences, it really depends. Again, going back into budget, right? So I think when it comes to the beauty of UGC creators and like influencers and having such a variety of pool of creators on our platform is that everyone has their own certain price points, and those kind of fluctuate depending on how popular the specific creator is in itself. So sometimes it might be like I gave my example, like a TikTok user with like 8,000 followers, right? So that's not a lot, but it's it's still like a very small community that's dedicated to that specific follower. So sometimes like pricing kind of fluctuates depending on that. So when it comes to specific campaign itself, again, I would say it goes back into goals. So we have had more surge of campaigns going out when it comes to like Black Friday or like certain holidays and stuff like that for sure. Pricing on that specifically doesn't go up and down based on the popularity, but it just depends on like what you like what type of content you want out. Sometimes we have brands that have a lot of SKUs in their products, right? So a lot of different products that needs like certain type of reviews. So let's say I am a food and beverage brand. I have like 7 different SKUs of products that I want a video for each of them. And each authentic video that's coming out of each product, that's like a single content that I can put on my PDP page, or I can push to my socials, or like every single product page that someone would be visiting on my website or e-commerce stores would be seeing that video. So the pricing does not fluctuate depending on how like different types of campaigns. It's pretty much like what type of content do you want made, pretty much. I
Yep.
hope that answers it.
Okay, I see a couple questions in the chat as well. Can you touch on how Veal supports sample requests coming in? So I know there's a lot of platforms out there that these founders have demoed. What's the difference on Veal? Are influencers coming on here and requesting product, or is it just a platform to find creators and then you have to do the work?
So the beauty of their platform in itself is that we have creators open to like collaborating for different types of rewards, let's say. So for example, we don't necessarily see creators coming in and be like, okay, I want a sample. But it again goes back into like what the brand wants to promote in itself. So let's say I want to promote like a new beverage that I just came out with, right? So if I want a creator to kind of do a review on that, obviously that would be part of what I would be sending out to the creator so they can review it. But when it comes to the specific rewards or commission, it's like rewards are like what you basically are trading for that content comes back to whether it could be like cash rewards, it could be the product in itself. So certain products that you're sending out have value in itself. So let's say a creator is charging you like $50 for like a 15-second clip. You could be sending $50 worth of product instead of cash in itself. That's like I think the beauty of having so many variety of creators is that some people just want to create and they're open to like we have creators that are even open to like promo codes. So it really depends on how flexible you want your budget to be. Obviously, cash is king, right? So most creators are more drawn towards cash rewards, but that doesn't mean it kind of stops there. There are creators that are open to just receiving the product and happily creating content for you or even promo codes.
Amazing. And then on that note, compensation, if you're negotiating compensation or flat fees, does the platform allow for that to happen inside or offline?
So what we did with Veal is that instead of so once you're matched up with like creators from the campaign, we have like chat features built into the platform itself. So you don't have to like go back into like chasing DMs across those different social media platforms. So once you have a campaign created, you're matched with a creator, then you can like start kind of like talking about adjusting compensation stuff like that. We also have a feature where you get to pick creators before you even like explore what type of creators we have, kind of build a campaign around the creators that you're finding, right? So, and then all the pricing is pretty much transferred from the get go. So you will see every single creator that's comes up into like signing up to Build, they set their own prices for different types of uh, like length of video or different types of videos that they're making. So you get to see that before even kind of making up your budget decisions. And obviously, creators are open to negotiating once the campaign's maxed, and if you want to work with them again in the future, and you can set up the rewards accordingly.
Amazing. Hopefully that answers your question, Brett. What types of metrics are brands tracking these days? What's like the top 3 metrics you would say are most important?
When it comes to metrics, definitely people are looking at impressions, shares, likes, how many people are engaging in comments, stuff like that. Those tend to be super important. I think another metric, and I think this is something that can't be tracked, but it's more of a live thing, is that we've seen clients come up to us and be like, "Hey, people just walked into my store and is telling me that they're seeing our content everywhere." Right? So I think the evidence of kind of random strangers just walking into your store just because they're seeing all these like creator made content, UGC content, people like walking into the store and like seeing that, being curious and coming in. I feel like that's a metric that can't be like specifically measured, but experience. Like you get to see the changes of having videos out there and not having out there. A lot of people talking about it and people not talking about it, right? So yeah, I think more with like going back to metrics specifically, people are like they like seeing like the like numbers go up. They like seeing the views numbers go up. They like seeing, you know, the shares and like the shares and reposts and stuff. But we have like like for clients that specifically care about like conversion metrics, they also are looking at, you know, like affiliate marketing links or like the promo links that they're sending to their creators to promote. Now they're also trying to see if, you know, if a creator is like kind of bringing in specific conversions coming in from like sales from like their specific videos and stuff as well. And that kind of leads into being able to track what creators are working for me, what creators are not. Let's say I like a creator that I'm working with, that person speaks to brands like I want them to. They're on brand, they're doing messaging correctly, they're hitting, like they're bringing them a lot. Then you can even like use them as brand ambassadors for like future campaigns, and we make that easy on the platform itself as well, to kind of like not having to deal with the headache of reoccurring contracts, but just like create a campaign for that specific brand partnership and kind of have that thing going while you don't have to worry about all the paperwork and things that come with it.
Yep. How much creative direction are you seeing brands give creators these days?
A lot. I think when it comes to authenticity, creative freedom is like the best thing you can do with creators. Like creators create best when they are not limited or strictly like, obviously you have your brand message. Obviously, if you're like, you know, like a certain health brand or something like that, there are things you want them to stay that's on brand, that doesn't go against regulation, stuff like that. There's obviously that. But I think when it comes to creator freedom itself, creators tend to produce better quality video when they can be themselves and have that creative freedom versus sticking to a specific script. Now you can give them a script, like that's always an option. But I think when it comes to quality and, you know, creator actually having fun making a video, that comes with creative freedom.
How a couple of hundreds wanted to know too about AI. We actually just had a webinar earlier today on how AI is affecting or making brands better or worse. How is AI in UGC? She touched on it a little bit on the legal side, but um, is there any clause or anything that like creators have to disclose when they're using AI to create products through for brands?
Um, it's kind of it's like a little bit of a gray area there too. We do tend to provide tools on our end as well to creators that sign up on the Veel platform. So a creator using the Veel app gets access to all these video editing tools from the get-go. So we are promoting that, and we're all more about promoting authenticity. Now, AI is something that's in trend right now. It's in all our technologies, and it's something we can't avoid. So instead of like encouraging AI to create that specific content in itself, we tend to promote authenticity, because I don't think AI can replace real people with real voices versus when it kind of comes back to like an AI, like you're telling it what to tell your people versus content creator is speaking to their audience, right? So uh, and we do tend to like, if a creator, if a not a creator, sorry, if a founder or a brand or a business doesn't want AI in their content, they can make it part of their campaign and be like, strictly be like, hey, I don't want you to use any sort of AI in any videos you make. That's part of the brief that goes out to the creator in itself. Now, sometimes creator might use them for editing purposes, and I think that's like pretty common in the industry these days. But like if we ask them, I'm pretty sure they'll be like, yeah, I used AI. We also have like AI checkers on the Wheel platform itself. So like when a video is being submitted, we tend to check whether it fits the script that you're submitting, stuff like that. So we have like
Okay, cool.
measures in place to kind of help out.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of questions and that were on our previous call today were about whose responsibility is it when creators are using AI or they're using platforms that are, could be like copyright issues and different things. So founders, I think, are looking more for more tools and platforms that can help prevent things like that. So that's good that you guys have those resources in the back. Um, and then Suyash, I know, just put the platform also detects authentic versus AI videos once it's received from the creator, which is really great. So again, I think founders don't have the bandwidth
Mhm.
to always
Yeah.
look at that. So that's good.
Um, one more thing, I wanted to kind of mention here. I think it would be kind of cool for everyone, all the founders here on the video, on this call. We actually have this free feature called UGC reviews. So we actually have a built-in engine where you can search and scour the entire internet to see if people are making videos about your product in itself. So the platform actually goes back and searches every single social media platforms out there to see if let's say if it's like let's say I want to make up a brand here. So if I have an ABC drink, right? So I can put it into the search engine and actually see if people are already creating content using ABC drinks in itself. And I could actually reach out to those creators directly from the Build platform, see if those videos are authentic or not, AI generated or not, and actually repurpose those specific videos as well and bring them back to my PDP pages. Now, those are already authentic content that's out there that the brands could utilize. People are already
Yeah.
doing reviews, people are already talking about it. Sometimes founders don't have the bandwidth, like you said, to kind of scour the internet and see if people are already talking about it, right? So
Mhm.
things could already be trending. So we can actually make it kind of easier for founders to also be aware of like discoverability, like how their products are doing. Are people already talking about it? Or if it's something that needs to be worked on as well. So
Did you say that's in a separate tool or that's a feature within the platform?
that's a feature within the platform, but that specific, if you just want to use the platform for that specific UGC review tool that we have, that's on a freemium basis. So there's limited usage, but you can create a free account today and start utilizing.
Okay, that's awesome.